now October the 21st, and this is Cosmic Voice. I'm your host, Thomas Williams, and we'll be bringing you the usual round of updates and questions. And on that note, I'll hand you over to Drake, as per usual. Hi, Drake.
Hello. Now, we're broke. We're looking at a debt ceiling, and they spent over $610 billion for DOD. Yeah, right. We're broke. Debt ceiling, oh my goodness. So, our situation is simple. Funky as it is, borrowing will have to stay the same because no one is willing to get cut. Now, there's a lot of people out there got nothing but Social Security, SSI income, not enough to eat on or live, and they want to cut it. They want to take your food stamps away so you can't eat. And you got to really get this through your head. Borrowing will have to stay the same because no one is willing to get cut. No politician is willing to put his head on the chopping block. We could have ISIS take care of that, but beheadings politically come from things like screwing with the senior citizens, their Social Security, or in this case, other cuts. Now, you might not have gotten the list altogether in terms of Social Security, food stamps, Medicare, and you can include Medicaid, veterans benefits. Okay, the federal government ain't gonna be able to make payroll. This is getting down to the nitty gritty. Then I got one that's hard to swallow. One expense that is hard to swallow is $300 million to help Ukraine. Military? To kill their own people? Give me a friggin' break. What is wrong with that NATO member, United Kingdom, paying it? Come on, you big, bad, wealthy. At least you try to tell that story to everybody. What's wrong with, out of 28 member nations, no donations, U.S. pays? What the hell's up with that? Who's the dingleberry that figured that out? $28.7 million apiece. And then you can adjust it so that the poor nations can pay a little less. I mean, money. Foreign aid, $23 billion. That's for humanitarian stuff. $14 billion for the military. That's $37 billion in giveaways every year. Oh boy. And then we got the fund. $2 trillion plus on failed military ops. And then you got a $30 billion deal over a 10-year period for Israel, thanks to George W. Bush from 2009 to 2018. Add the trillions in bailout money, and you see what the problems are. USA Incorporated has $18 trillion plus and it's run up in debt with no way to pay. Wow! Can you imagine that? Credit card companies that send out the militia after you. They hire Blackwater to come collect yourself. Debt ceiling is being played with, and it has been being played with since March of this year until presently. And they finally run out of tricks to play. Can't cook the books or make them go sideways anymore. And we are close to bumping our head on the debt ceiling. Jack Lew is a nervous wreck. You don't know who that is, go look it up. Anybody? Do we dare make our own underwear? Or whatever? I mean, think about it. We don't even make our own underwear. That's a piss poor society. Believe me, it is. My problem right at this point is looking at all these made-up numbers. We got 5.5% unemployment. You freaking liars. Try 20%. And more than that, you count everybody, and it's going to be right around 30%. Last I checked, it was 28% unemployment. The Great Depression wasn't quite that bad, just so you'll know. Now, I will suggest we repeal all free trade treaties and refuse to agree with the Atlantic or Pacific trade deals. Trash. Now, we are in a pickle. We are in a problem. Our underwear is shrinking, and we ain't noticed it yet. It's like that frog being boiled real slow. It's shrinking up slow so you don't notice. And all of a sudden, your nuts are in a bind. Well, we got a serious problem. And that problem started back in the late 60s, early 70s. Many of the companies who had excess manufacturing capacity sold the machines off through a broker to other countries. This left the machines they were using. They were not necessarily the most modern in the world, but they were usable. By that I mean you can get by using them. I've been to some of the General Motors manufacturing places where they make certain steel parts, and when I was a little kid, I used to operate brake presses and shears at my dad's bodybuilding factory. They built utility bodies for trucks, spot welding and all that happy stuff. That's what I grew up on. I used machines that were newer than what they had in these GM plants that they're using now. I could not believe it. I walked in there and looked at that, and I looked at the thing, and I started busting out laughing. Everybody wanted to know what the hell's wrong with me. I told them, I said, man, my dad sold 4 of those because they were older than he was. I mean, jeez. So we are in a situation, primarily because of the problems I've just listed: manufacturing, infrastructure, immigration. You got all these politicians out there squirting stuff in the air, thinking they're all that. Got financial problems on the debt ceiling because we love borrowed money. We live to borrow money. And then you got the austerity that they're beginning to very quietly look at. They're looking at it serious, too. They're looking at it honestly, cutting all that. So where is our situation today? Well, around 85 and 90, a lot of these companies started going out of business. And I don't mean they just moved to a foreign country. I mean they went out of business. Okay, well, the one company I know of, wasn't too far from where I lived, stole the pension funds in the process. They're still trying to catch that guy. It seems that the CEO and the chief executive officer, the boss, owner, whatever you want to call him, and the accountant, the chief financial officer, absconded with the pension fund. Now, you split $70 million cash by 2, that's $35 million. That ain't bad. And they ain't found neither one of them since. The earth done swallowed them up. Meanwhile, here we sit. And here's what our problem is. We don't have much manufacturing here anymore. As I said, we can't even make our own underwear. And that's the truth. Okay? What do we make? Are Dixie cups made in China? Or Canada? Or Mexico? Or somewhere else? What this should have been years ago was a humongous red flag. It should have been a big warning about a big storm coming, that we got a serious problem. What happens? I understand the Gulf states, that's the Saudi Arabian area, decided not to use the petrodollar anymore. That means we got about, 8-10 months left, maybe, before the isolationism and denigration of our country really starts. Woohoo! Ain't this fun? All these downers. I just love it. I've been having a good time today. Started off with a nightmare. I got back from Vietnam and said, no, don't need that shit anymore. Then I was in the States being chased by the CIA, Men in Black, and a bunch of other ugly dudes with guns. I was holding my own, and they couldn't catch me and everything, so I did all right. And then this big monstro thing stepped out of the shadows and clunked me in the chest. Whoo! I woke up all sputtering and coughing up stuff. I'm been smoking. That's what the problem. Anyway, so that started my day at sharp and right on the button at 4:30 a.m. Been up ever since. I ain't stopped. I figured, well, what the hell? Might as well just see what happens. If I pop a fuse, I pop a fuse. So back to the bump and grind. If we can't make anything, we don't have no manufacturing. That's one thing. Now here's the other one. You always got 2 feet, so you got 2 shoes to drop. Actually, there's 4 or 5. I mean, this thing's like a horse or something. Might be an octopus when I get done. We'll see. But here's the other shoe that's going to hit the ground hard. How about farming? Growing our own food. Has anybody noticed that a certain large state on the West Coast has done dried up and blown away in the wind? Anybody ever hear of the Great Dust Bowl? Mm-hmm. Did you notice that Texas is having the same problems? The upper Midwest is having a different type of problem. They got floods. And then the East Coast has been flooded out. Poor old Carolina's got zapped. So, we can't produce our own food. Now, I've been trying to tell people, get ready. I'm trying to get you guys to think about this. And there's something that really will blow your mind. Walmart's in trouble. And I ain't talking about light-duty trouble. I'm talking about serious. Like close the doors and put a chain on it, serious. Why? Well, we get our food from Argentina, from Bogota, Colombia. I mean, wherever. And we have farmed it out to these third world countries, trying to help them out, supposedly. That's part of the excuse. The real excuse is that Bureau of Land Management wants to argue about who's got the right to raise cattle or grow stuff on the land that is supposedly public. That, it doesn't matter if the guy's been using it for 150 years. Don't matter if he was there trading with the Indians before the U.S. ever showed up. Don't make no difference if he's got all the paperwork right and everything. And no, you can't go in there and triple and quadruple the fees. That don't work. That's illegal. Hello, Bureau of Land Management. One of the states, I saw something posted. One of the states told the sheriff, was it the sheriff? Might have been the sheriff was dictating it from the governor, I believe. They told the Bureau of Land Management to stay the hell out of the state. Everybody is at the point of breaking it off in somebody that says, I'm a Fed. Well, really? I ain't had no target practice in a while. How fast can you run? Can you run a speeding bullet? I wouldn't recommend that, by the way. But you begin to get the point. We're not manufacturing even our own underwear, socks, nothing. We're not growing our own food. So that makes us consumers. Now, if you put your thumb up for the first one, no manufacturing, index finger up for the no growing food, and a third one up, you get the idea. You're at the one finger salute point. That's called being screwed, and not even knowing it's coming. It's like that frog. I'm telling you. You put him in a tub of plain old everyday room temperature water, he won't mind. He'll just swim over and hold on to the edge. Turn the burner up on high and see how long he lasts. All of a sudden he's boiled before he even thinks about jumping out of there. Cooked. Well, our stuff is cooked. And if you ain't ready, you are behind considerably. All kind of things you need to get. You need to get a whole load of people together and put together at the very least a community store. And it can be held in somebody's garage, any old place. It don't matter. You want to take and get some of those Tupperware tubs. If you're going to keep noodles and rice and that sort of thing, you need it in some kind of a mouse-proof container. If you don't, forget it. It won't be there when you need it. However, canned goods, sardines. I mean, some of this stuff don't sound nice or right. Spam, leftovers. That's what they get off the cutting room floor. Used to be that way. Now they're not cutting enough up. However, the situation is critical. It ain't going to be very long before things start exploding, and I mean coming loose at the seams. Now, what are you going to do if they say, okay, you are under military control for the next 72 hours? What are you going to do? Now, this means that they're going to put down an iron curtain. Nothing in, nothing out. Yes, transatlantic flights and people are running out of gas, they get to land. They can't leave, but they get to land. People that are permanently outside ain't coming back for a couple of days. They're going to have to wait till it's lifted. Just that simple. Whether anybody likes it or not, don't make no difference. This includes all forms of communication, internet, telephones, satellite, all of it is going to be confined to interior United States. Think about that. Have you got some gold and silver laid up? Have you got some cash under the mattress or in a coffee can buried in the yard or something? You're going to need a combination of these. You need to have some kind of a gun. Why? Well, if somebody's hungry, finds out you got food, they will do anything, and I mean that quite literally, anything to eat. Don't matter if you've known them for 20 years or not. It makes no damn difference. When a person gets hungry, I've been hungry. And believe me, you go for a week or two without food, and that gnaw deep down in your bones, in your gut, where you can feel yourself eating yourself alive, definitely makes you do squirrely things and anything to eat. So you might want to consider a gun. You really might. Being in a great urban area ain't a cool idea either. When it comes to gun glued, how many people do you know in a 2 or 3 story high rise that's got a garden on the patio or a goat that lives out there or something? See what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be nasty about it, but you got to take these things as they come. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. The revolution. Politics don't get to play in this one. They'd love to. Oh, God, they want to so bad they can't hardly stand themselves. And they have been told no. But, what part of no don't you understand, you freaking idiot? There is a lot going on behind the scenes. Bunches. Now, I've been trying to tell people this, and that things are coming. I will be as gentle as I can be on this next one. I want everybody to pay attention here. A comprehensive enforcement group is being formed. I'm going to say that one again so you get it. A comprehensive enforcement group is being formed. Many different skill sets, which is exactly what is needed. As I get it, the group members are a rare find. The people are ones I would trust in any situation. Yeah, they've been described to me. I ain't met them yet. The group has selected a base location. Now, I'll give you more as it comes about, or you might see it pop up in the news like, oh, my God, look what they did. We might just do up the White House in toilet paper and tell Obama to wipe himself because he's the wrong color or something's wrong with him or something. You know, we got to get this straight. There's a lot of things that can go into this that you can really put a point across. Now, I'm not prejudiced. Anybody thinks I am is full of it. However, I have met, and I ain't going to use the N-word, but you know what that N-word is, of all colors, shapes, kinds, sizes, national origins, etc. They're out there. God forbid that they should reproduce, but some of them do. Anyway, we have a problem with something exactly like that in terms of the administration, and I'm not just picking the president, I'm picking everybody in this administration. Now, there's been changes, real recent changes. Nobody saw them. Why? They didn't want you to know. Why? Well, they don't need to advertise them. Well, what's wrong with knowing? Very simple. They would like to grinch up on these, and I won't be nice, dingleberries. And if you don't know what a dingleberry is, look it up. I'd be surprised if you didn't. But they want to sneak up on these dingleberries and surprise them in the middle of the night while they're sleeping. They think they're all that and all, yeah. Can you imagine the squawk if somebody come into Nancy Pelosi's house and snatch her ugly butt out of bed in the middle of the night? Come with me, witch. Ha, ha, ha. Can you imagine? Oh, you'd be able to hear that all the way from California to Washington, D.C. Then there's Hillary. I bet she'd squawk real loud, too. So, as these things begin to come together, I'll begin to appraise people of what's going on. Now, Dr. Nadu would love to see enforcement. Well, doctor, you're going to get your wish. It's coming. It's happening as we speak. And it is a righteous team. Now, we're going to be soliciting, but not over the show, not through emails, not on the Facebook page, none of that. It's all going to be private. We're going to put together a team, a big one, big enough to handle a reasonable size of things, so that everybody understands, it's real. Now, when this team goes in and snatches up some turkey butt that needs snatched real bad, we're going to leave a note. As they've told me, we're going to leave a note. And the note's going to say, got one. Are you next? You know them funny-looking letters that you cut out letters and you stick them on a page? That's the kind of note that was going to be left, as I heard it from certain sources. Think about it. You guys was asking for action. Well, you're going to start seeing it. It's coming. And I don't care who don't like it. I don't care if I know they're listening to this. Have fun trying to catch up. Have fun trying to figure out what's going on, because you won't be able to do it. Why do I say that? Well, I've known some pretty good agents, and I mean some damn good ones. I was trained by some of the best, and guess what? This crew that's getting put together are the very exact people who were instructors and personal trainers of all the very best agents on the planet right now. Some of them are foreign in terms of being from different countries. I got no problem with that. Happy to have you on board. I'm happy to see that things are finally going to become real. I don't know about everybody, but I've had enough. I'm done waiting. Screw the weight club. I started that as a joke, and everybody and their mother-in-law signed on to it. I couldn't believe y'all. That's what you get for drinking too much the night before, and you're not paying attention to what kind of button you're pushing on the computer the next day. I made it through work. Oh, now I got to stay up. Drake's on. I want to hear his line of BS tonight. Got to get my dose. Well, guess what? I'll give you an example of financial fun and games that everybody should have noticed today. If you didn't, you've been sleeping at the switch. It was noticed by mainstream media. They couldn't figure it out. I can tell you exactly what was happening. And I'm going to ask you, did you notice the funny way the Dow was acting today? Anybody notice how it's up, down, sideways, stop, go, hesitate, sit there, not do nothing? What causes this is a nervous credit market. Now, why in the hell would a credit market be nervous? Real simple. If they don't start getting their shit together and adjust that debt ceiling and whatnot, all of the credit stops. Hear what I'm saying? Are you paying attention? All credit stops. Your credit cards ain't going to work. If you ain't got it in your pocket or you can't get it right directly out of the bank, you're done. I want everybody to think about that. If you're using the gas card regular, switch over to cash. If you haven't done the switch over to cash by taking your cash out of the freaking bank, what are you going to do when they close it? You got a closed bank. How the hell are you going to get money out of it? And no, the ATM ain't going to be turned on. They're going to not just close the door. They're going to turn the power off. When I say closed, I mean closed. You're talking at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. It could be longer. I don't think so, but at least 2 weeks, if that takes place or when it does. There's no definition, absolutes. But that is a nervous credit market. That means that the credit markets, central banks, Citi, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these big turkeys that are, we're immune to everything. We can do anything we want. We got all the money. They're beginning to have dumpus interruptus problems. They're getting constipated. They need to be able to unload. A lack of progress. As that doomsday date of November 3rd, Treasury deadline, as it gets closer, it's going to get worse. Veterans, Social Security, and federal employees don't get any more money. No payments, checks, or services. Now, and I keep hearing that the House and the Senate are playing with it. Well, guess what, House and Senate? Go play with yourselves in the bathroom. You get done, come out and get serious. If you don't, your paycheck stops too. And if your gas card don't work, how you gonna get home? I know some of you would prefer the office to home anyway. Well, that ain't neither here nor there. So, in the passing of wisdom, hold your nose. Politics is coming, and believe me, a skunk ain't got nothing on politics. You talking about a major odiferous foobar. This is what we're looking at. These friggin' idiots are stipulating, we're shutting nothing down. Really? Well, get your stuff together and get it done then. If you already know what you're going to do, do it. You can play with everybody some other time. Called cardiac kids. That's what they called the Colts when they first came to Indianapolis. Right at the end of it, he made nobody can make a throw like that, but he did it anyway. You know, the immaculate reception or however you want. Well, the Colts were famous for that. Right at the very end, right at the last second, they just did it. So we got a bunch of politicians playing the same game. Now, anybody that does not understand, there ain't no difference between Republicans and Democrats. Each one is scripted and told exactly what to say and do, how to vote, whole 9 yards. Remember I said wholly owned subsidiaries of special interests and corporations? Trump hit it on the barrelhead. He hit it right dead, hit that nail just square as you'd want it. I got money. That means nobody owns me. Now you take all the other ones, and I'm going to give you the differential. Trump says, I'm going to change all this. This is horse hockey. We're doing it bass-backwards. You know, cart before the horse and all that sort of stupid stuff. Well, I'm going to elaborate on that real simple. Have you heard anybody, and it includes Bernie Sanders, have you heard anybody other than Trump say he wants to do it outside the present system and or alter that system to a point where you don't even recognize it from what it used to be? No, you don't. So far as I'm concerned, I'm going to go with Trump. I think the man's got it together. I think he's probably one of the few who knows how to go about the management situation that's necessary as a president and has no qualms about getting the finest minds possible to assist in terms of straightening out the mess. There's a lot of people, really good people, who've stayed away simply because they didn't want to get it on them. It's sticky, funky. Kind of like trying to clean out an outhouse pit by hand. Think about, you want to get funky, there you go. You think skunks are bad? You think that's bad? Politics is much worse. And Trump's immune to it, largely. Now, he had some bankruptcies, and he learned from each one. He never made the same problem. The same problem did not appear over and over. Okay, so that means he changed his aspect and his approach and all this sort of stuff. Figured it out, finally got it down, and now he's got it to where it is self-sustaining. You've heard of self-sustainment. I know you have. The government likes to say it's self-sustaining as long as everybody gives me all of everybody else's money. I do just fine. I mean, if I could rake in, if I could rake in $800 billion a year, I'd be doing good too. I'd have me all kinds of things. No. You hand me a big load of money, and that ain't going to change nothing. I am not changing for the sake of cash. That just don't work, and I don't care what the numbers are. The thing about this is simple, and I'm not touting Trump as being righteous, walking on water or any of that, because he sure as hell is a long way from that stuff, believe me. But on the one key point, nobody controls me. That is significant. That puts him head and shoulders above everybody else. Everybody else wants to work within the system. How does the system work so far? It screwed everything up. Well, you keep doing the same thing and expect different results. I think they call that insanity. Trump says, I ain't crazy, but they are. Somebody asked him, what about politics? Have you donated? I was like, yeah, just about everybody here on this platform, and some Democrats too. That means they owe him. Think about that. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to get the, if you owe somebody money and you either don't want to pay them back or they want something in return, but they ain't said what it is yet. Where does that put you? Under my thumb. The noose only tightens up so much before your neck snaps. Usually a person, when they first fall, stiffens, and that's all it takes. Because once the neck stiffens or tries to resist, you snap it real easy. I know, I've done it. Noose works a little different, not much. But the ideology here is, do you want to get hung? Out to dry. You want to watch the people you care about starve to death? Or do you want to become self-sufficient enough to be able to handle a problem that may be coming up? Now, this is supposed to be peaceful, orderly, smooth transition. We're about to find out from what I've been hearing. I've been hearing all kind of rumors about the military getting ready to do this and do that and whoopity-doo. I'll believe it when I see it, personally. But I'm not going to denigrate them. I got to give them due credit. They've hung in there through some real fun and games, believe me. And don't just take my word for things. I mean, you can take my word for one thing. I give you information, and you may or may not believe it. Don't matter to me. What you want to do is go look it up yourself. A nervous credit market. That was in the that's on Bloomberg. That was reported. Credit markets are nervous. Can you imagine? Jack Lew is a friggin' mess. Seriously, a friggin' mess. The boy don't know which way to go. There's nothing he can do, and he's stuck with sitting it out, riding the storm out. What do you do when the boat starts sinking underneath of you? And if you can't swim, you're screwed. One of the reasons I don't like airplanes. I ain't got enough feathers to fly very good. So it's, 6 one, half a dozen the other. And Tommy, I see it looks like we're at the top of the hour. We got music ready.
Right, we'll be back with the second hour. Are you ready, Dick?
Yeah, I just hope I don't fall off. We'll be okay then.
Question
Sock
for
it to
you.
me. All right.
Why should we, the people, trust a person who's been bankrupt 4 times to save a country that's been bankrupt for a long time?
Well, because he never did the same mistake twice, for one. Number two, he's got none of those problems in his present organization. He finally learned how to operate a multi-billion-dollar company in a manner that causes it to be self-sustaining. Now, what you have to understand is what's the difference between what we got going on in our country and what Trump's done. Think about that very carefully. He saw things 3 to 5 years ahead of time, just like I've been trying to tell everybody. I've been on the air for that long. You got to understand, these things are not some kind of imaginary BS that everybody else puts out. I don't play games with heads of state. I tell them right up, straight up, what's going on. They're either being duped, screwed, or whatever. Ukraine is a good example. We stopped that so far. Now it's up to Russian intelligence to handle it correctly. If they do, the Ukraine will remain whole, for one, so the nationalists can be satisfied. The autonomy of the 2 provinces that remain within the Ukraine will be ensured through a simple, direct, straight-up agreement between those entities and Kiev. NATO hates the idea. Look what Putin's done, as an example. And I know we're getting off of Trump a little bit, but look what Putin's done in Syria. Okay? Think about what somebody of that sort of character could do for the United States, and you see Trump. He's a renegade. You don't follow the status quo. You said that many times. You can't keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's insanity. And he might be crazy, like me, but he's not insane. So we're going to have to adjust a whole load, and I mean a big load, of things. And one of the biggest things we got to unload is the amount of government we got. There's way too damn much of it at way too high a cost. We unload that, we'll be able to pay the national debt. The corporation will be able to pay the national debt without too much problems if we decide that we are going to help them do so. That's the condition. This is what they are afraid of. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. So, you got anything else to say, or do you want us to go into some cues, or
yeah,
do you want to bring on another topic?
I don't care what it is.
Yep. Nice. Black swans aside, is it true to say that Chinese are managing a controlled collapse of the fiat US Inc. dollar and banking system, which, barring some false flag attack by the cabal, will progress on a timeline commensurate with the gradual increase of non-dollar denominated global trade, aka the RMB?
Even better than that. China just purchased it. I kind of missed that. China bought a shitload of certain special securities. Now, these are special securities. They're not the normal stuff you can get just on the open market. And that is what we're floating on presently. That's why the Social Security checks and the VA check and all this other stuff and the benefits and everything as such are still happening. That runs out probably April or May of this coming year. You'll notice that the deal is to keep the thing supposedly running through the election. That's going to be a neat trick, and we'll have to wait and see. But yes, China is similar to Iran and others who have taken umbrage with our existence as it is presently. This is the largest criminal cabal on the planet. the NATO members became members at the behest of financial tyranny. Oh, I see. So you don't need any more money from us, huh? What? All you got to do is sign up with NATO and then worry about it. We'll take care of it. Real simple. We want to surround Russia because NATO's prime directive is the destruction of Russia. Dude, you forgot about all them hungry Chinese over there. Oops. You can't take on just part of it. You got to take on the whole thing. If you're going to go adversarially towards taking out Russia or China or whatever, you got to, first of all, know what you're doing, and secondly, have all your stuff real righteously in order, or you fail at it. We tried taking China out, and they told us to screw off, pretty much. But yes, you also have to understand that the RV is going to change a bunch of financial things, and it's being worked out or hammered out or whatever you want to call it presently. Okay.
Yes. Comments, please, on the recent report of the CIA admitting to hiding info re JFK.
Comments? Well, it's good to find out that somebody finally leaked the documents. That tells me that Snowden isn't the only person that's got a set of balls big enough to do something about the problems we got. We're going to have a whole bunch of outings. These people are going to have to be shown to be dirty. And as they are, then legislation will be changed so that their funding's not what it used to be. They will be shriveled up to an extent. Now, there's a lot of good agents in there. I know this for a fact because I know some CIA agents that are really decent people, and they really do a great job, honestly. But there's also certain people in certain places that are just about as rotten as you can get. And these are some of the problems that have come about. If you get a certain, say, a department within the CIA that's funky, and they all agree to screw something up, it's real difficult, first of all, to find out that they're doing it, and secondly, to prevent it. So you have a world of things. It's like Bush being directly involved in 9/11. Most people aren't aware of that, but he is. The only thing I missed getting in terms of I was going to try to hang that boy badly. The only thing I missed getting was the memo stipulating that certain people should vacate certain places and not be and have some kind of flu that day, and that certain portions of the Air Force and other people had been notified in a memo and he signed it. I know where it went. I know who's got it, and they ain't caught him yet, and they ain't going to. If it starts coming out, then the man can come out safely. Just that simple. It's like Snowden will be able to come home. The ideology that a secret or something that is sensitive to the nature of secrets in general being outed, being a crime, the only real crime of it is that it wasn't kosher to begin with. All the spying on everybody and all that happy stuff that Snowden talked about, among other things. The CIA being involved with JFK, it goes on, and it's a big glob of nasty. A lot of those people have retired or moved on or are in different positions now, but the thing is that all of these secrets, all of these hidden agendas and political thises and that's have got to be outed in order for us to have anything like a free society. The only way people can be free is knowing that they don't have to worry about it. Everybody's been duped into thinking they didn't have to. I used to hide under my desk when I was a kid, too. Oh, they hit the air raid siren. Everybody, get into your desk. Oh, man. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is being truthful. Iran's had nuclear weapons for quite a while, and a delivery system go with it. So has North Korea. You have to understand that there are going to be imposed limitations by certain forces that people cannot reckon with. And these entities refuse to allow us to destroy ourselves. We are the keystone planet for our universe, specifically the galaxy, specifically the universe. And they're not going to let nothing screw it up, not even us. Now, if things get to a certain point, they will intervene, but only if it gets really funky. And I'm talking about probably an all-out worldwide conventional warfare kind of scenario at the very least. So you have to understand, they're not going to allow nuclear weapons to be used. People say, well, this was a nuclear blast. Horse hockey. We have certain types of explosives that operate on a contingency of semi-nuclear reactivity. It's not a nuclear explosion, but it can really, really mirror or look like one. This is what you're seeing. I have not known of a nuclear explosion in quite a few years now. So don't expect any, and don't believe the horse hockey you hear on the internet about. I see it's got to be a nuke. Look at what it did. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And before it starts, the NASA nonsense on Halloween is just that, nonsense. More fear porn. Well, NASA's coming out with another round of asteroids going to come really close and could hit us on Halloween. Really.
Oh, my God. You mean the great pumpkin's coming after all?
Yeah. Noticed all the fear porn merchants of the last 2 months have all gone rather quiet, which is good.
Yeah.
You mentioned Snowden in your last answer, and there's a question about him. With Snowden wanting to return to the US, would this be because the fireworks have been crafted with the fuse lit and there's nothing more to do but sit back and watch, or just a case of missing this country and the familiar things, which I wouldn't blame him for, even though we have a few issues with present leadership?
Okay, well, seeing as how you asked, I'm going to express some things. Russia is not the most modern country in the world, like it or not, and no denigration to Russia. Okay. However, it depends on what. It depends on the food demands as to how much he misses Mickey D's. Believe me, I have heard some rumors, and I've had some of the. I love the food, but I don't know how many years of it I can take. You can only have cabbage soup so often, and you begin to have you look at it, and your stomach says, "Don't you dare!" And you go, "I'll pass." There are a whole variety of things that go into that. I will tell you the man's homesick. Now, I'll also tell you that we need to make provisions to allow the man to come back. Now, I'm not going to say that he's a traitor or that he committed a treasonous act either. I think we had a person that walked off his post in, I believe it was Iran or Afghanistan. That boy is a traitor and should be treated as such, and he is not getting treated that way. In other words, that probably sounds to me and is beginning to sound to me like a photo op and some kind of staged horse hockey. And Snowden's the real deal. Now, the information he put out, it was sensitive. There was a whole bunch of scrambling and shit going on when he started putting that stuff out. Oh man, you talk about a Chinese fire drill. Who NSA about lost its mind. Well, he has refrained from putting out information that would be deadly to a bunch of people. So he has very carefully gone through what he's got, and I applaud him for that. He's handled it as best he could in the manner in which he was allowed to handle it. When you don't have too many options, and you got to understand this, the government is seriously after us or after you. What do? You fire a little bit of ammunition to cause them to duck and bob and weave, and while they're busy ducking and bobbing and weaving, you get on the train, and that's what he did. So Yeah, he's probably homesick. Okay.
Do you think it's a bit of both then? Partially homesick and perhaps the climate here is more conducive to him returning?
Yeah, that too. They don't wear all them furs and heavy coats for nothing.
Right, okay. Is Snowden holding back on releasing more information? What is he not releasing and why?
Because it'd harm a bunch of people. And yeah, he's holding back a pretty good load. Like I say, I commend him for that because he at least is astute enough to understand the sensitivity of certain things and how dangerous it would be for a whole bunch of people. He's not outed all the CIA agents' names, addresses, phone numbers, and where they're located and shit. I mean, you know, as an example, and he's got that information. So, you know, it's touchy. It's something where you have to let a whole lot of things ride in order not to get a bunch of people killed, and yet at the same time you can be general about it and say, "Man, I say he's watching you," like Santa Claus. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. You know, that sort of song. And if you look at what he's done, it's not been overtly specific. It's been a lot more general than what people thought it was going to be. They were hoping for the specifics, and you're not going to get them from him. That much I know about the guy. And this is one of the reasons it's a possibility that he could come home clean. Now, he won't be trusted to be a contractor like he was before, very probably. But, and this is something everybody might want to consider, he may be offered a position of releasement where you release information. Now, that would be a great position for him to be in, I think. Okay?
Mr. Keshe came out with a big presentation last week regarding free energy with plasma in it. Are you able to comment on the free energy devices Keshe is promoting or giving out?
Well, it sounds like a good deal. Seems like what he's talking about will work, and I just would like to know where mine's at.
Yeah.
I mean, I got light bills too. It depends on whether it's just a strict energy device. If it's just a strict energy device, that's great. That would work for me. The thing that I'm looking for is a replicator, and I know of several that sort of work, but not the way I really would like it to work. So there's going to have to be some improvements before I bother with it. Okay?
I saw around 40-50 minutes of it before it went into presentations and giving free ones away and the literature to different country ambassadors. And it appeared there was like 4 different machines. One of them was for food, memory serves me correctly. Another one was to do with health. Like everything else,
okay.
You know, we've waited a while for this. I would have liked him, given this was apparently his 3rd conference, to give some sort of demonstration. I think it would have, been easier for a lot of people to accept the reality of it if there was a demonstration of it. You know, it can't be that much to set something up.
Yeah.
I would say to the person who asked the question, we've got roughly 2 months to find out by the end of the year, because he promised he would have 1 million per month starting in November out to the people of Italy. So if they haven't got them by the end of December or early January, then there's an issue. Hopefully it'll be good. Next question. Since the Bank of Canada, the person but was, I would say, is part of the Federal Reserve, what's going to happen to us and our money? And what advice can you offer us Canada for our near future?
I'd give you guys the same advice that I give people here. Your banks are going to close for about 2 weeks. It could be longer, maybe not. I don't know yet exactly. You need to have 2 weeks worth of what it takes to operate. If that's a couple of $100, skip a bill or something. This is going to be hard on a lot of people. That's just all there is to it, and there's no way I know to get around it. You need a couple of weeks worth of expense money. Now, if you can lay up extra groceries before you get there, then you should be in a lot better shape than others. However, you need 2 weeks worth of expense money, gas, and that may be a problem because we don't know about deliveries. Now, the idea of communications, lights, and things of that nature being turned off, I don't think so. The sewer, water, and communications and everything, we have people that can go in and operate if need be. That means that there are people that do have the expertise to be able to take care of the problem, so there's not a problem. Okay, as far as gas deliveries, well, it depends on what happens in terms of the oil markets. What happens when we, go kablooey? Do we have enough reserve on hand to manufacture enough gasoline to be able to at least meet the general needs? Now, and I don't mean fill the tank for everybody, but the general needs over a period of 2 weeks or so. Then you have the other problem. I mean, they cut the power off. What does that do for you? Well, until you get a Keshe machine, you're kind of up the creek unless you got a generator. So you have to do the best you can in terms of looking at what you got and how you can best allocate to use it. Now, a group of people can do a lot better than singular, especially if the funds are real limited. If everybody's got $10 and there's a group of 10 of you, that's $100. Okay? When you get to about 300 or 400, you can get a used generator, and then you're going to have lights. There's a lot that goes into this in terms of some of the things I've stipulated. One of those is Oath Keepers community preparedness teams. These kinds of plannings ahead so that you don't have a serious problem or a much lesser serious problem, I think is where it's at. That's one of the reasons I'm promoting Oath Keepers. The other part is what they believe and how they act. So what you're looking at is simple preparation as quickly as possible. Same scenario as here. Lay up some food, lay up some water, get you, a couple of extra cases of beer or whatever it is that you got to have. And hopefully, and I'm very hopeful, none of this will last more than 2 weeks. As I understand it takes 2-3 days to shut it down, 2-3 days to turn it on, and you got about a 10-day deal in between. So that's 14, 16 days, somewhere along in there. That's about 2 weeks. This is what I have been told. I'm reiterating information from people that supposedly know what's going on. And that, as I understand it, is what is planned. Now, during that period of time, they're going to reorganize the banking system. So don't expect things to be exactly the way they were when you last used the systems. It'll be above board, it'll be honest, and it'll be totally open to anybody that really wants to take a look. Okay?
Another question on Canada. It seems our government is corrupt here and are also following the UN One World Order agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. The guy just got elected. He was supposed to be the key to that. Much as I didn't like it, and much as I didn't like the ones before, getting somebody, first of all, who can be honest no matter what, and then protecting that individual from the influences that they're going to bring to bear, the power structure that's going to try to coerce that person to do what they want, is pretty extraordinary. It's going to end up with something. We got the Secret Service that supposedly guards and takes care of people. Well, you're going to have a personal one there because of the corruption I know of that has permeated a whole lot of things. Once you get that set up and you got an honest person, and you're in a position to start the revolution, because you're going to have to take people out of their office kicking and screaming, and you have people to replace them, then you can get somewhere. The revolution here in this country, when it starts, as soon as things start happening or popping or whatever you want to call it, there's about 20 some other countries that are going to have their own. This is not going to be just a United States deal. This is going to be almost worldwide. And a lot of the things that have gone on in the past won't be around anymore. A lot of the things that we have done in the past in a certain way will be done totally differently. This is where the World Council comes in, trying to set things up so that everybody has a standard to follow. And it has to be general enough so that it can be applied anywhere under any social condition, and something everybody can understand. So it's not what they've worked out so far. I like. I'll try to put it together in a post over the next few days, and then make sure I got permission to release it. But the council itself is representative of the people. Each and every last country will be represented. Each and every last people, even if you have tribes, as we do here in the United States, of originals, they will be represented. They will have a say. Each and every last people on the planet will have an input. As we get this thing going, somebody's got a need over here, send them what they need. And send them some strong backs to put it in, or whatever it takes. That sort of ideology. Irrespective as to belief system, all right? Supposedly certain people believe a certain way, and I'm their enemy because I don't believe the way they do. Forget it. Dump it. It won't fit. It will not be allowed. I want everybody to understand that. There is going to be a global force that will enforce things. You either act right or you got a problem. And it's not going to be just with your neighbors. So these things have to be understood. War will no longer be tolerated. I don't care who thinks it's fun. I guarantee you I've been there, and it ain't. It's not good for nothing, period. Well, so what do? Well, throw rocks at each other like little kids? That could be. If two leaders feel like they really got to duke it out, fine. Put them out there and let them go at each other. But you're not going to have the wholesale slaughters that we've been through in the past. We're done with that. So bear in mind that this is a real, comprehensive, extraordinarily complex situation we're entering into. Now, it will be simple in its application and the understanding of it, but it's going to be complex to put it together. Okay?
When this is all over, can we use chemtrail pilots for target practice, or can we start now?
No, but we could do like they did with the kamikaze. We could weld them into an airplane and send them out over the Pacific and see if they make it to the other side. There's a whole bunch of... I don't know that these people are in a position to be held personally responsible for their actions. Did they offer to roast their kids over an open fire? I mean, did they watch one of their buddies get thrown out of an airplane? Are you next, or do you want to do what I told you? I mean, think about it. I mean, these people are insidious, and they'll do that stuff. So I'm not sure. Using the chemtrail pilots for target practice, it depends on how they act. Now, there were some who were spraying swine flu in Berlin, And I called the Berlin Police Department and told them that they were doing that and they better get somebody up there to stop them. When they confronted their ass, they give them the finger. Wrong thing to do to a police helicopter that has told you to land or else. Police opened fire, and the guys inside didn't survive. So you see where this can go. It depends on how you go about it and whether or not people are really interested in this. The Berlin police thanked me for informing them as to what the hell was going on, and nobody else got hurt, just the pilots or people on the plane. So, hopefully, I'd like to see each one of the fogging machines screw up and fill the airplane full of it. Here, drink some. Whatever. Okay?
All right, we're at the top of the second hour, so you can have a break for 5-10 minutes, and we'll be back with the final hour. Hi all, and welcome back to the final hour this evening. Drake with his usual update and a whole heap of different questions in the second hour. And let's see if I can get him back. He's probably still dancing to Deep Purple. Hi, Drake.
I am not. I was not dancing to Deep Purple, but I was boogieing in the office chair pretty good.
Good.
Everybody seems to take issue with chemtrails, and they want to know about using the pilots for target practice and all this other happy stuff. How about we flatten their tires? I mean, there's things that can be done. If you can learn how to aim a fireworks rocket, you'd be amazed what it does for an airplane engine when they ingest one of them things. There are so many silly ways to cause problems, you would not believe it. Anybody out there wants to go for it, try not to get caught. There you go. Something to do. Y'all been asking? Well, there you go. Try that. All over the place. All over the country. See if you can find out where they're taking off from and visit. And don't tell me it's a military installation. Ooh. Well, get somebody that's been in the military who knows how to sneak up on people and go get it. You see what I'm saying? They ain't gonna be able to spray chemtrails if the tires are flat. They really won't. And if you put a fireworks rocket in the engine, I guarantee you when they start it up, they'll be in for a bang. We having fun yet?
Yes. Another Canada question. You are not going to truly find good politicians on the people's side, but I would like to hear your opinion, Drake, on the new Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. His father is infamous for taking Canada off the gold standard. Could he be there to right the father's wrongs, or is it business as usual, just like Obama replacing Bush?
I don't think we got the better part of that deal. I'd say you guys got the better part of the deal. Now, from what I understand, the man is beginning to already stipulate certain things to be done. It depends on what the individual does as to being able to figure out where they are. And you won't know that. It'll probably take about 2-3 weeks of him knob-dicking with the government in terms of what he wants done, what he wants to see right immediately, the approval of that, and what the end result is. You got to remember, there's several different ways to cook things, and the government gets cooked by whomever's in charge. So see what the recipe is. If it's not all that bad, and if it rectifies problems, then you very well may have a good one. You can't tell because it's not the family thing that you see in the bushes here. And believe me, the one that's running for president ain't no different than the other ones. It is very probably a bit different, simply because when you go up against star quality in terms of performance, you have to create your own star. Well, what we got was a continuation different flavor, but basically a continuation. You may not be having that. You may get a totally new deal that ain't too bad. Like I say, I am not going to lump people in with their past until they prove it. And so far, the Bushes have proved it. Well, this guy may be different. Okay.
You still got the problem of Canada being a Commonwealth country and under the operation of the UK. Whether those ties and bonds are being cut at this time will become prevalent over the next month or so, I would suggest.
Yeah, or less.
Benjamin Fulford stated there will be a world government of some sort. The question is, what sort of world government, and will our personal sovereignty be affected by it?
Yeah, it sure will. You'll have it restored. How about that? You have to understand that the differential will be government comes from a word that means control. Funny how that works. The ideology here is coordination, not governance, not true governance. And the ideology is a representation of the people rather than what we've had of a representation of, I'm the government. I'm your God. Bow down, knave. Well, forget all that horse hockey, okay? The World Council, as I stipulated, is made up of representatives of each and every sovereign state. Each state will be considered sovereign with their own internal workings and mechanisms. They can follow the general guidelines that will be produced by the council itself if they wish internally, and they won't have a problem with it. The reason being that each individual is considered more important than the collective. The ideology of a collective is to garner control. There's been several people that have gone into great depth on this. The differential from what everybody thinks in the New World Order, they're going to rule us. Yeah, right. Well, that's dead and stinking. They're having trouble keeping their head above water as things are. Well, you're going to add more to it? What, are you crazy? So what you have to understand is that it's not so much as things have been as what they are going to be. Now, I want you to think in terms of common law. They accepted that. They accepted the golden rule. Now, you apply both of those on a personal responsibility basis. You are literally, personally held responsible. No, you can't be stupid and go tearing stuff up and whatnot, or hurt people or whatever. When an individual understands that, then you get a humongous change. And this change can happen real rapidly for the simple fact that this is a simple application. It's not complex, like all these laws and crap that we've got, regulations and rules and whatever out the yin-yang that nobody can decipher, not even the lawyers that work in the field. Consequently, you got a mess. Well, let's put the mess where it belongs in the toilet and flush it. And then you come out with a squeaky clean. You come out with the, for want of a better expression, that spring morning when everything's perfect. You come out with a lifestyle of that nature. This is what everybody has been after. World peace. We want this. We want it. Well, how about we make it available for the individual on their individual merits and effort to acquire whatever? That's fine. We're going to have oligarchs. We're going to have richy riches. There's several that I know of who have made it on their own merits, not screwed anybody in the process, not gotten dirty or dirty money or any of that. And I really respect those people. And yet you have this guilt by association. Well, not all of them are guilty of the things that others have done. There's a very, very stringent minority of them who have been participating. However, it looks like everybody's going along with it because nobody's doing anything to stop it. That's where all of this comes to bear. You remove the financial leverage, and then they become just like you and me. They got to fend for themselves. They got to go get their own food. They can't pay somebody to go do it for them. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people, well, man, I never did learn how to cook or whatever. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to take an extraordinary amount of effort on everybody's part to make this work. But once we get it to a point where it becomes a keystone, a personal preference for each individual, then you know what to expect from everybody. The idea of having to fear someone just because it's dark out will be gone. Okay?
Yes. It is my understanding there will be a split in this cut timeline, a section of worlds, if you will, where the awakened one knows with open hearts will ascend to the fourth or fifth dimensional earth, while the others who wish to experience duality until they've grown to a point where they can ascend that for the earth too. Is that correct?
That's possible, but my understanding is that everybody goes from 3 to 4, period. Duality doesn't stop just because you transcend a dimension. Duality is where an individual does not unify themselves, whether it's male, female, passive, aggressive, or whatever. Those are the dualities. It's the same exact thing as the yin-yang symbol. The two wolves within, one good, one evil, and they're always fighting. Well, no, they don't always fight. When you have the lamb and the lion sleeping together, the fight's over. And you're beginning to see some of that. It's beginning to happen. And when you realize that, then you know you can let go of a lot of the inconvenient bullshit that you've been raised on, or ideology that isn't quite correct, that never did quite fit, that sort of thing. Then and only then can you divorce your duality and unify yourself correctly. Okay?
What degree of certainty do you have that we will transition to 4D and any sort of timelines associated with that?
I'm not going to give any kind of times. When we accomplish certain things, then the transition will be open to us, and we have a certain amount of time to accomplish that. Most of the things that are needed to be done are well underway now. Hopefully we'll start seeing some realizable results that the mainstream media can no longer ignore. If that's the case, then we got it. Okay?
It's just going to take that one big story to break and people to get it, and the rest will follow, I think.
Yep.
If Russia has smoking gun evidence of 9/11, why haven't they released it yet?
That's a good question. I've been provoking them to do that. I'll ask them in Pravda tomorrow when they're going to do that. I mean, they may be waiting. What they may be waiting for is for us to get to a point where the people are more in charge than the government, so that we can go get these people. That may be what they're waiting on. I am not sure. Okay.
Right, I believe I'm breaking up again. It's been
yeah, a little bit. Your stutter step.
Right, let's see what we got. 30 minutes left. Are announcements going to happen to wake the masses up, or will things be covered up?
In terms of awakening the masses to what's getting ready to happen, you're first going to get, in terms of our present situation, a surprise. There'll be a couple of them. Then at that point, you're looking at the sweep I was describing, 72-hour lockdown, all that. That will be there will be no forewarning on that. It'll be sudden. I don't know when exactly, what time of day or anything, but it'll be sudden. And it's not too far away from what I understand. But in terms of awakening the people to the spiritual portion of what's to take place in terms of the transition, and these are the two biggies, basically, there will be a heavy disclosure, as I get it, of what to expect. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but we have an interruptus from ET, and they switch channels or however that goes. Most people will be prepared as well as they can be. The transition itself is so extraordinary that there is no way to prepare somebody for it. However, there's also enough people available to assist so that nobody has to feel like they're going to be out there on their own. So, yes, and the preparation to get there does not necessarily mean that it's going to happen the next day. It just means that you're being prepared. Okay? Okay?
You stated last week, a little bit after the hour into the show, that we were going to go into a cashless society, and then money is removed altogether. My concern is, isn't the cashless society a part of the RFID chip, and Aaron Russo and others have stated as part of the New World Order agenda?
No. Not this one. When I say cashless society, I mean doing away with it entirely. No RFID chips or any of that crap. Basically, it would be a credit card, similar to what we carry presently, and that's it. Okay. You would have a draw account, so to speak, if you were required to use it. Now, what you have to understand with a replicator, you're not going to have to buy too many things. Food, clothes, medicines, anything you can program into it. Think about that. Then, to go along with this, our transportation is going to be modified extraordinarily. No more fossil fuels of any kind. Now, the things, the amount of work it's going to take to accomplish this is going to give everybody something to do. Okay, so then you have to understand the ideology within the cashless society is most people have something they're good at or enjoy doing, and usually those are in a combination. When a person is given free rein to do all of it they want, it's not work. It's fun. I mean, I love painting. I love music. There's a variety of interests. But when I'm able to do something I really enjoy, I don't notice how much time I put into something. I don't notice how much effort. I just all of a sudden I put 16, 18 hours in, and whoa, wow, look at what I've done. Cool, that was fun. And you look forward to the next day. In this context, in this reasoning, in this storyline, you find several things. Do you need to be paid? Not if your needs are met. Think about it. Not if your needs are met. You can rise to any technical level or coordination level you desire and can do. I mean, you tell me what could you ask for beyond that? I can't think of anything. I would just dearly love, to be able to put together a specific paint set that actually genders life. I did that once. painted a picture, and it came to life, and it was really something. There are things that are out there that that most have not experienced or discovered yet, that are a total mind blower in terms of being able to comprehend what you're getting into, to the depth of it. I'll give you an example very simply. How far does space go? Yeah, think about that. Would you like to be on the team that rides in the spaceship and goes looking? Could you be a technician on that ship so that you serve a dual purpose other than just a passenger? Can you do things that might benefit the crew itself? I mean, there's all kind of, and that's just that. And you have a combination of both macro, which is large, and micro, which is small. What's the smallest matter known? Does anybody know that? I mean, what do you want to discover? Do you want to go and find entities that are totally different from human beings and a whole hell of a bunch of fun to be around? I've met a few of them. Boy, are they fantastic. They don't look human. They are far from it. But they can be, and they enjoy a good sense of humor. You have to kind of feel out how the sense of humor should be presented. Other than that, what's the limit? Think in terms of simply sci-fi. What's the limit? There isn't any. Your imagination is your only limit. And this is basically what you're about to come up to. So, I would say get ready. Let me see here. Are you ready, Tommy?
Is it possible that you, Drake, could expound a bit on the birth certificate discussion that Judge Anna von Reitz is talking about? If we go after the use of these accounts, is that not keeping the system alive?
No, not exactly. Basically, what you're doing is you're getting back from the system the valuation that they put on it and you. It's nothing more than a simple payout, primarily. Judge Nadu is somebody I would recommend in terms of that. I don't remember his website off the top, but the simplicity of what they're doing, and this is something else, it is correct. In other words, you don't have to worry about them coming back after the money or you or any of that. This to me means a lot. I have not had time to participate yet. I'm getting ready to try to do that. We'll see how that goes. But that would be something I would recommend if you'd like to recoup some of the valuation that you've both started with and accrued over the years. Okay?
Yep. The Federal Reserve Charter was up. Okay, carry on.
Well, I was going to say, do you have that...
I think it's
the website
Scripture.
He was talking about.
I think it's scripturelaw.org. Or the Facebook page is Monetize COLB. So you can find one of those two. Do you think that the security hiatus at the airports this week was to let Cabal minions in to wage war on the US, or was it to allow the Cabal types to get out of Dodge without being seen?
Combination of that, and I would say it was also an anomaly that you probably won't see again until they turn it off. That is to be done away with. No more proctology at the airport. No, I love it.
Yeah. What do you think of the Keshe move against the Illuminati to give freely his cold plasma reactors to humanity with a deadline to world governments? That deadline being October the 26th to give it to their people. I think the other deadline was the same day, that they would only receive it if they signed a peace treaty agreement. This is obviously an attack against the Illuminati suppression of vacuum energy devices. Comments, please.
I think it's great. I've studied all that and to a point where I know how it's done. And Keshe and I probably get along famously in the lab because there's some things that I know of that I'm pretty sure he's not aware of yet that are a whole lot of fun to deal with. I mean, and I'm talking about playing with stuff. I'm all for it. Like I said, I want mine.
Yes.
And finding an agreement not to go to war seems like a small price to pay for something that can be so awesome as what he's offering. That is, and it would be nice to be able to work with that through our publishing system, because there's a lot of countries that get that information.
Yes. Are synchronicities meaningful indicators that you know you're on the correct path?
Sometimes yes, or sometimes no, depending on whether or not you're about to step in it. If you're not about to step in it, but you're going the right direction, you'll find that the deja vu coincidental synchronicities are awesome, and it grows as you progress. They get more intense and more unbelievable, and you just might even surprise people around you that, you'd be walking down the street and have a, quote, incident, unquote, and just shock the crap out of everybody. I mean, if you phase in and out of existence, that can be rather intense if you're an observer, as an example, okay?
And the second part of the question, how do you know if they are legitimate using only your discernment, or is it a process of fine-tuning it?
It's a combination. Remember, the book says strive for the perfection. Well, that is a portion of the perfection. Your capability to remote view and direct yourself towards gives you the option to improve yourself in that direction. So the synchronicity could be had more and more intensely or greater each time. So, yes, you can direct it to some extent and experience more of it as it goes. It's kind of strange and hard to express or explain, but that's the basis of it, okay?
Why is the new U.S. commodity-backed currency still a note and not a certificate? Are we being left behind in the revaluation?
I don't think so. We've never had a dollar. Bear that in mind. Federal Reserve note is a world currency. It is the reserve currency at this point, primarily. So therefore, we don't have a dollar. When we come up with a dollar, it's going to do some things to the reserve currency in terms of its value, whereby you are given, as it has been explained, a dollar, and that dollar is going to be worth $1.50. It'd be sort of like the euro in comparison to the Federal Reserve note, as an example, where you can have a differential in valuation. The true American dollar is going to be based on our assets in terms of our, you can reach out and touch them kind of thing, our capability of production. Not necessarily the production itself, but the capability of it is considered, among other things. So our valuation ought to be pretty nice. Okay?
And that's it for another week, Drake.
Really?
Yep.
Well, everybody rising up the bow, play the fiddle hard, and get her done.
Right. Thanks for that, Drake. And we'll be back next week. There may be some other shows coming up. We're in talks with 4 people at the moment, so there may be some extra shows coming up, and I'll notify you that as soon as possible. Stay safe, stay strong, be prepared, and never let anyone put you in fear. My name's Thomas Williams. Bye for now.